So becoming an effective peer-to-peer leader is one of the most effective and valuable skills that you can create, because what you're actually doing is creating another you, okay, by your leadership ability. And dude, there's 3 to 4 main valuable skills that people get paid big money for. One is selling. If you sell, you're going to get paid the most money. The second is managing. If you can manage a team, you're going to get paid money. The third is initiative. If you can creatively come up with a solution, see it through from beginning to end without having to talk to anybody about it, that person's going to get paid a lot of money. And the fourth person that's going to get paid a lot of money is someone who can replicate themselves in a leadership position. So if you're a great leader and you can create someone over here who is also a great leader through your example, and you can replicate that, that's extremely valuable. You can write your own check, all right? So how do we do that? Well, it's very simple. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality. Guys, today we have Q&AF. That's where you submit the questions and we give you the answers. Typically, we like to start our weeks off with Q&AF so that everybody can get better. Before we get into that, I'd like you to know that we are starting the MFCEO project again. If you're unfamiliar with the MFCEO project, it was my original podcast. It was the #1 business podcast in the world for a very long time, and we are starting that back up. If you were interested in that, which will be all personal development, all how to win, all how to make money, the psychology of winning, how to operate, everything to have to do with business that none of these other motherfuckers can teach you because they haven't done what I've done. If you're interested in learning that, you're going to need to go on my website, andyfrisella.com. Subscribe to the Andygram, which is my daily email, and you will be notified when we launch the MFCEO project. Now, Q&AF is how we like to start the week. We're going to do less and less of that and more of that over on MFCEO. But if you want your questions answered on the show, you could submit them a couple different ways. The first way is,
guys, you can email these questions into askandy@andyfrisella.com.
or you go on YouTube in the Q&AF episodes, drop your question in the comment section, and we will get some from there as well. Other times throughout the week, we're going to have more and more of this, the CTIs. That's where we cruise the internet. We put topics of the day up on the screen. We speculate on what's true and what's not true. We have a good time talking about what's going on, and then we talk about how we, the people, need to solve these problems going on in the world. Sometimes we're going to have real talk. Real talk's just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk that I think needs to be heard. And then we have 75 hard verses. 75 hard verses is where someone who's completed the 75 hard program comes in the studio, talks about how they use 75 hard to completely transform their mental state and, as a result, their life. If you're unfamiliar with 75 hard, it is the initial phase of the Live Hard program, which you can get for free at episode 208 on the audio feed only. We weren't on YouTube when that came out. There's also a book called The Book on Mental Toughness, and you can get that at andyfrisella.com. It includes the entire Live Hard program, plus 10 chapters on mental toughness, plus a bunch of case studies on some very famous people who have used mental toughness to become the people that you recognize today. Now, and that's on andyfrisella.com. Now, we do have a fee for the show. The fee is very simple. It means share the show. We don't run ads on the show. I don't do that because I don't want to be told what I can and can't say. We try to keep it real with you guys, regardless if you agree or disagree. We're ourselves, and that's what it is. So I ask very simply, if the show helps you, if it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you a new perspective, it's something that you think needs to be heard, if you enjoy the show, if it entertains you, please help us share the show. We are constantly dealing with censorship, traffic throttling, removal of episodes, etc., etc. So we need your help to get the show out there. So don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? You know, I had me thinking, you're talking about the MFCEO coming back. It's like Return of the Mac, man.
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac. There it goes. Turn. It's a good song.
You were just making up your own song before the show started. How'd that go?
No, that's not. No.
That was spoken words?
That's a real song.
So what's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Nothing.
Yeah, man. I had a good weekend.
Yeah, you did?
Well, I'm going to have a good weekend. It's going to be a good weekend. Jake's getting married today.
Our Jake?
Jake.
No shit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, congrats, bro.
Yeah, in Ho Valley.
Yeah. What?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Ho Valley.
Q Valley. Ho Valley. Out there in Pacific.
You don't want to get married in a place called Ho Valley, bro.
Maybe.
I mean, that doesn't sound like the right place to find your wife.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's it though, man. It's gonna be a good weekend. You got anything special coming up? It's Monday. You guys are listening to this. Friday.
No, I just walked in the gym and Riley Green's in there working out.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, he invited us to go to his show tonight, so I think we're gonna maybe go do that.
Oh sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we're talking to him, and he's like, "Man, this is awesome." He's like, 5 years ago, I was building houses. Like,
yeah, sweet, man.
That's awesome, dude. He's very, very cool dude.
Yeah, well, let's make some people better today, guys. Andy, question number 1. Hey, Andy, I work in the automotive industry, wrapping cars, installing PPF specifically. I've recently been asked to manage a massive shop that I was previously let go from due to the shop not being profitable. In the past, I was just an installer, but showed that I have the qualities and passion to turn the shop around. My new position will be a general manager position while still also installing. My salary right now is around $120 a year. I know taking on this new position will be a lot more work, and with that comes headaches and responsibilities that I didn't have before. The struggle I'm having is coming up with a number or salary to propose to the owner. I was wondering if you have any insight on that. How do you measure your value or worth in dollars? How do you do that?
Well, there's a right way and then there's the way that everybody else does it, which isn't the right way. Most people just make up a number and say, this is what I'm worth.
$5 bajillion.
Yes. And that's what they do. And I'm just giving you the owner's perspective. People see things on the internet. They hear things from people on the internet. They talk to their friends. Their friends all lie about how much money they make. They come in, they say, I need this, and they get laughed out of the room, okay? Because there's a reality to what jobs pay, because contrary to what people understand is that there is a budget on the back end where it has to make financial sense. A lot of people think that there's like a money tree in the back of every business that you just go pick dollars off of and hand them out. And that's not how it works. It has to fit in the puzzle of, a responsible financial budget. And so, just making up shit based upon what your friends say or what, that might work for a company that doesn't really know what's going on, but it won't work with a legitimate company. They're going to want to know there's going to be a budget that is available for the position that you are in. And then there's going to be incentives for you to grow. And, if you're going to come in and say, hey, this is what it is that I'm worth, you're going to have to show that you've been paid that before, what you've done before. You're going to have it documented. You're going to have to show that you did these things that you said you did, especially when you're talking about salaries that are in the 6 figures. So the best thing that you could do is you can document all the things that you've done, all the things that you've done well. And in fact, I would be transparent about the things you did wrong too and how you learned the lesson, because to an owner that shows that, hey, this person's being honest, they're telling the truth, they're explaining how they learned to do certain things. And I appreciate that because that's how I learned how to do everything.
There's awareness there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there's also courage there, right? Because it doesn't always, people don't want to tell you the things that they did wrong. They're afraid that if they tell you the things that they did wrong, that you're somehow not going to be interested in them. And I actually think that whenever they tell you the things that they did wrong and they say, this is what I learned from that, I think that's a plus, not a minus. So when it comes to coming up with a number, all of these things go into play. It's also very similar when you go for a raise. A lot of people think that because they were somewhere for a certain amount of time that they're due a raise. Yes, there's companies that operate like that, but they're going to give you a raise of like fucking 2% cost of living adjustment. You're not going to change your entire existence. The people that are listening to this show are looking to scale up their lives in a meaningful way. So when you go get a raise, I'm assuming you're going to want more than 2%. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to make sure, one, that you're effective at what you do now. What are you doing now? Are you the best at what you do now? Are you producing the best results of what you do now? Because a lot of people feel like that what happens is they're going to get someplace and they're going to be there for a long enough time, and then eventually the manager or the leader or the boss or whoever is going to come up and say, hey, I need someone to do this. And then all of a sudden you're going to magically turn the switch on because the opportunity's there, which is the backwards way of thinking. How it really needs to be set up is you're executing at a high level now, you're kicking ass now, you're doing better than everybody now, and you're staying hot, meaning you're operating at that level all the time, so that when these situations for you to progress come up in conversation in the boss's office, you're the automatic person that's mentioned first. Now, how do you ask for the money? Well, you do the same thing you do when you're going for a new job. You say, this is what I've done. Here's where I've contributed. Here's the statistical data that shows what I've done. And you have to figure out how you're going to show that and document that. That's on you. That's not on the company. So you make a list. Here. This is what I did. And by the way, these are things that you've done at a high level. These are not things that you're automatically paid to do already. A lot of people, especially younger people, will, if I said, hey, make a list of the things that you've done, they would put something on there like, I've never been late to work. Well, no shit, you're not supposed to be, right? I work really hard when I'm here. No shit, you're supposed to. Those are things that you're already paid to do. So you have to be careful not to put down things that are normal expectations of your current role and then pretend like there's some sort of bonus, because they're not. And if you go into the wrong manager who doesn't give a fuck about you and won't sit you down and explain this to you, they're just going to look at you like you're an idiot, and they're going to assume you're an idiot forever, and they're going to say, this guy's going to wash out. So the point of this is documenting, making a case, making it relative to what makes financial sense for the company and where it fits. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you outgrow companies. Sometimes you do everything right and there is no upward mobility for you to have. And that's where you go to a new company and you start there with that skill set, and you have to document what you did at the old company. And by the way, the old company has to agree that you did these things, because the new company is going to call them and say, hey, did they do these things? So you can't lie, you can't cheat, you can't make it up. And a lot of these younger kids now, they think they can go from company to company to company to company and just make shit up. We see it all the time, bro. People try to apply here. They're like, I was making $400,000 over there. Okay, well, let me see your W-2. Oh, well, I can't show you that. You see what I'm saying? Right. Like, there's a lot of these young kids think they're fucking really smart, and they don't understand how these things are checked and balanced on the backside. So make a list. Well, first of all, perform at a high level, stay at a high level, make a list of what the fuck it is that you've done, and then have a negotiation with the party. That's what it is. And, you know, like you said, oh, you're making 120 for installing wraps on a car? Like, really? Because, like, if you walked into me and said that you made that for installing wraps on a car, I'd fucking know that was bullshit. You know how I know that's bullshit? Because my wife used to fucking run that company that put wraps on cars. So you just sat down and wrote me an email where I know for a fucking fact that you're not getting paid 120 grand to put wraps on cars. How do you think? Did you know that? Hold on. Did you know that I would know that?
Right.
Do you know how I met my wife? I met my wife because they wrapped my car and I couldn't fucking pay the bill. So you didn't know that I know that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't fucking lie. I promise you, you're lying.
Let me ask you this, because this is another portion of this too, man. I feel like there's also this weird...
If I fucking went and checked that person's W-2, 100% they're fucking making that up.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like a shit ton of money to be wrapping.
Everybody out here lies about what they make, dude.
Yeah.
This is why you can't listen to your friends. This is why if you're a social media influencer, you ever notice how all the social media influencers are making $1 million a post?
Right.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And if you walk into a situation asking for that company who knows, right, is going to say, well, fuck this person. They're delusional. They're going to be hard to work with. I don't want to deal with that shit. And you're not going to get the opportunity.
Doesn't work, yeah. Let me ask you this, because I feel like there's another weird, I don't know if it's a false expectation that happens in the workplace, where it's like, you know, who is the onus on the employee or the employer to initiate those conversations? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
about raises and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
well, look,
You know what I'm saying?
listen, I think it depends. There's been plenty of situations over the years where I've seen someone just kicking ass
and not say nothing.
Yeah, and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
So then I have to sit them down and say, all right, look, man, here's how you do this. Do you want to make more money?
Yeah.
You do, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, do you think I'm going to give you any more money if you don't fucking ask?
Right.
Okay. So I sit down and have that conversation because, look, dude, I want my people to move upward in life. That's why I still do this. That's why I come in here every day. I want all these people. And that's why when you support our companies, you got to know you're supporting good shit, because I don't need to be in here. I don't need to do this shit no more. I've already paid my fucking dues. I'm financially where I need to be. Everything for me is good. I want these people to progress. And when people come in and they kick ass and they do good, sometimes they're afraid to have conversations about money because their parents or their teachers or their aunts or their uncles, they always taught them these things. Don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, and don't talk about money. And if you don't learn to talk about money in an effective way, you're not going to make very much of it. So you have to get comfortable having conversations with people about money, or they're going to keep it from you forever. So what I'll do as an owner or a manager, whatever, I don't do this anymore because I'm not involved in the day-to-day like that. But I would sit down with someone and I would say, hey, how you doing? You're doing a good job, man. I see you busting your ass. What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Well, I'd really like to do. What are you doing to get there? What do you think about your pay? Well, I'd like to earn more money. Well, you're doing a good job. You're doing great. Are you doing the best that you did? Were you going to ask?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's situations like that where people don't want to ask. And then there's situations where people will say, they'll say, hey, here's what I did, and here's what I've done. I've done this and this and this, and that's a conversation. And then there's the third people who always think they deserve a raise no matter what.
Every 2 months.
Yeah, bro. They don't, and those people just don't stick anywhere. Yeah. Those are the people that went from here to here to here, and then you say, why'd you leave? Wasn't enough money. Well, you don't get enough money at an entry-level position, bro. That's why it's called entry-level. You know what I mean?
Real shit, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Guys, Andy, question number 2. Hi, Andy. First, I want to say thank you to you, DJ, the whole Real AF crew. My question today is, how do I lead, discipline, and mentor those that were once my mentors? To give a bit of background, I work for a public agency maintaining public infrastructure and utilities. This type of work comes with a lot of institutional knowledge that gets handed down over the years. I started in this industry when I was 17 years old. It has been my career for the last 16 years. I started at the bottom as a temporary laborer and have worked my way into a leadership position where a good amount of my employees were once my mentors. These guys not only taught me everything I know in the industry, but have helped lift me up to the position I'm in now. These guys have been to my wedding, met my family, my kids, and I consider them, some of them, like brothers. I take a lot of pride in our team and the culture we have built. And as time goes on through and generations collide, I'm beginning to see conflict between the new up-and-comers and the old dogs I came up with. Some of these situations require a shift in my leadership style, while others have required some discipline on both sides. I always find it harder to discipline the people that were once my peers than the guys who have only known me in my current role. I also find it harder to get these same peers to follow along when I make the change in the direction that the group is heading. Any advice would be appreciated. God bless America.
All right, look, yeah, that's a difficult situation. When I started my business, I was 19 years old. For that first 10, 12 years, I was employing people that were older than me. And people, for some reason, when they're older than you, much less when they actually taught you what you know, are resistant to younger people running or leading the situation, unless the person leading is so much better and so great at what they do that it is undeniable, okay? So if you are so great at what you do, and you are so skilled at what you do, and you are that much better than everybody else at what you do, leading usually isn't a problem, even if the people are older. So the first piece of advice that I would give you is to distance yourself from them in your skill set as far as possible, meaning be so much better than them that they understand they have to listen to you when you say shit, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is to understand that most human beings understand the dynamic of a workplace. And because this is your first time really leading people like this, you have personal hangups that aren't necessarily real hangups out in the real world. It's your own internal, I don't want to say insecurities, but we'll just say hangups. You think that because these people helped you, that you are incapable of leading them because they're just going to like laugh you off. Well, that's your own hesitation. That's in your own mind.
Can't do this. Joe might say this.
Exactly. Yeah. Because every person that is there in that environment understand that there's a chain of command and that things have to be followed in a certain order. They understand that somebody's got to call the play and then the play has to be run. Every single employee that is employed across the country in every single fucking job has a basic understanding of this flow down system of here's the play to run, I got to run the play. Here's how we make the fries, I got to make the fries that way. You see what I'm saying? Everybody understands that. So to be hung up on that in your own mind just because you're younger than everybody is an irrational hang up. All right? They all understand. You're the leader. You're going to call the plays. Now, getting them to run the play, that's going to come down to the first point that I said. The better you are than them at what they do in terms of like understanding how to do their job, what's going on, how skill set you are. And by the way, the better track record you get at leading them down the pipe into the right position where the team wins, the more confidence that they're going to gain in your ability to lead, which means you're going to have less resistance when it comes to calling the play that they need to run. So a lot of this has to do with you earning their respect, with you being great at what you do, with you not being an apathetic or lazy leader. And I think the age thing is a very irrational hang up that a lot of young people have that can be cured by very simply just being very good at what you do, not flexing leadership where it doesn't need to be flexed. You know, you said these guys are in your weddings and shit like that. Look, bro, I got guys that work for me that were in my wedding. When we're here at the office, they understand. When I'm at their house drinking beer, I'm not telling them to get me a fucking beer. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting the fuck up and I'm saying, hey, can I do anything? Can I get you something? You know, and so we balance out our roles at different areas when they're appropriate. And the saying of, you know, you can't be friends with people that you manage or people you work with. Yeah, if you're a weak leader. If you're a great leader and you're a servant leader, you're all going to love each other. Not all the time, but most of the time, because you're going to understand that your intent is to get the team to win. And that's another thing that you have to earn the respect of, because a lot of leaders, you have to remember that a lot of these people that you're trying to lead have worked for shitty leaders before, who are selfish, who want their own name in the headlines, and they're really all about themselves. And they've never worked for a leader that actually cares about their progress or the team win. And when they know that you care about those things more than you care about like just getting the credit or whatever, they're going to fight for you, dude. They're going to go to war for you. And when they know that you put their interest in front of your interest, they're going to go to war for you. When they know that you are going to put the team's win in front of your own personal win, they're going to go to war for you. The problem is that most leaders and managers don't have the discipline to do that. They want all the credit. They want all the money. They want all the fucking claps and cheers and all this shit when none of that's relevant, bro. When you're a leader, your job is to take responsibility when things go wrong and give credit when things go right. And if you can understand that, that will take you most of the way. The rest of the way will be gained by you being great at what you do and respecting people and having the right intent for them. And if you can put all those things together, you'll be an effective leader. I don't think the age thing is even an issue. I think that's a bullshit issue. There's all kinds of examples of this. Do you think Patrick Mahomes is a shitty leader? He's the youngest fucking guy on the fucking team. You know why people listen to him? Because he's fucking great at what he does and he respects the rest of the team.
He wants everybody to win.
And he wants to win. And everybody wins because he wants to win for the team, right? Like these are the leaders, bro. And Patrick is one of the youngest guys on the team still. So you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter about age, bro. It matters about all these other things we're talking about.
Let me ask you this though, you know, because I do agree with you. I feel like there definitely is like that preconceived notion that it's going to be this thing, this if. But I do want to ask you this on this culture aspect, because he is bringing in, there's new people coming in. That they only know him as the leader, right? What if a situation does arise where one of your old guys there's a challenge publicly in front of the new people. Like, how do you handle that conflict? Because I could definitely see that being a potential thing, where you're getting a little pushback from one of the old schools in front of one of the new schools. Like, that could be a toxic culture.
Okay, well, in that, first of all, if you have led your team the right way and you've built rapport the right way, your older guys are going to know not to do that in public, but it's okay to do it in private.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I don't care what someone says to me. Like, I've had employees tell me I'm the biggest piece of shit, and we can argue straight up fucking fuck you arguments in the office. And then we calm it down and we go out there and we act like everything's normal and we get back to fucking doing our thing. I don't give a fuck what people say to me. If they want to vent to me, they want to fucking whatever. But if you do it in front of people, we're going to have a fucking problem. And you, as the leader, have to respect that about them too. You don't go embarrass them in front of everybody else. They won't embarrass you in front of anybody else. And if they do embarrass you in front of the young people, that's where you don't react. You pull them in the office. You say, hey, look, dude, we've been working together for a long time. All right? Steve over here is brand new. You just create a scenario that we're going to have to fix with him because he just saw this and this and this because of your lack of discipline. Now, from working with me, I don't give a fuck what you say to me, dude. You bring me in the office, you fucking tell me I'm whatever, we'll work it out. But if you do that in front of that guy, not only are you hurting my ability to lead, but you're hurting your own ability to grow the company, which is going to hurt your career long term because now we have a guy who's not bought in the way that he should be bought in because you just did that in public because you lack your discipline to control your emotions. So there's a lesson there, right? So then we fix that lesson and we move forward. So yeah, bro, but those things do happen. Yeah. But they happen, I would say 90% out of inexperience and lack of discipline to control emotions and 10% out of maliciousness. Now, if it happens out of maliciousness, that's cancerous and that's where you have to make changes. You can't allow that shit to happen.
Yeah, I love it.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And if Steve ever tries, shut the fuck up, Steve.
Well, and then, dude, if you've built the proper rapport with your team and the proper culture, those older guys that have been there a while are gonna, like, when that young guy, culture is self-regulating. Like, that's what people don't understand. It is a living, breathing thing that your business creates and you create intentionally. And this is what we will talk about. We talk about this in Arte and we'll talk about this on MSCEO at some level, but you are creating a system of how things are done automatically. And when you create the proper culture, one of these guys who's a veteran with you, they're going to go to the young guy and say, hey, don't fucking do that. Here's why. And they're going to correct these scenarios.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Guys, Andy, let's get to our third and final question. Let's flip this from
you ever been like when you went to play college football, right? Mm-hmm. When you first showed up day one, the coach didn't stand there and say, hey, this is the way we're doing all this shit, right? The practice just started. And you fucking were like, I don't know what the fuck to do, right? Yeah. And other dudes would come over and be like, hey, motherfucker, this is what we do here. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is what we do here. Hey, you better run hard here. Hey, now we're going to do gassers. You got to do it this way, right?
Absolutely.
Now we go to this station. Now we go to that station. Now we go eat. Like, you had other guys on the team tell you. The coach didn't tell you. The other guys told you. Mm. That's how the culture works. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Guys, let's get to our third and final question. Question number 3. Let's flip this a little bit from somebody who is being led. Let's focus on this. This is a really good question here. Question number 3. Hey, Andy, I am a 28-year-old entrepreneur in a small 30-ish employees size company. I've been listening to your show for a few years. Thanks to Dan Holloway for introducing me to the show. Since joining this new company a little less than a year ago, I've noticed that there are a few who understand the mission and are willing to go the extra mile. And then there are those who just punch a clock and really couldn't care less if we excel as a company or not. For me, I know that what I do every day affects 30 individuals, families, and lifestyles, let alone my own. My question is, as someone who is not in a leadership role, how do I get people to help row the boat? Basically, how do I get people to care about the work they are doing? I want to win, and I need those around me to buy in for us to succeed. Thank you.
Okay, so what you're talking about here is peer-to-peer leadership, which is actually probably the purest form of leadership because there's no title associated to it, and people don't, quote-unquote, have to listen to you. So if someone, and this goes for if you own a company, if you have a great peer-to-peer leader, that motherfucker's going to be a rock star when you give him the quote unquote position to lead. All right. So becoming an effective peer-to-peer leader is one of the most effective and valuable skills that you can create, because what you're actually doing is creating another you, okay, by your leadership ability. And dude, there's 3 to 4 main valuable skills that people get paid big money for. One is selling. If you sell, you're going to get paid the most money. The second is managing. If you can manage a team, you're going to get paid money. The third is initiative. If you can creatively come up with a solution, see it through from beginning to end without having to talk to anybody about it, that person's going to get paid a lot of money. And the fourth person that's going to get paid a lot of money is someone who can replicate themselves in a leadership position. So if you're a great leader and you could fucking create someone over here who is also a great leader through your example, and you can replicate that, that's extremely valuable. You can write your own check. All right. So how do we do that? Well, it's very simple. It's actually the simplest form of leading too. You've got to be amazing at what you do. You've got to operate at a high standard all the time. There can be no holes in your game. And then you have to fucking call people out when they're not at the level that they need to be. And that doesn't mean, hey, fuck you, you're doing a shitty job. Sometimes it may mean that. But what it actually means is, hey man, look, bro, I know you're capable of more. And by you not doing this, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting me. And I've got a family. And you're hurting Tony over there. He's got 2 new kids. Okay? You're hurting Stacy over here. She's got a family. By you not doing what you can do, look what's happening to the rest of the team. That's not good, man. I need you to fucking get with me and let's go fucking win. You want to win, right? So then it's more of that kind of conversation on a consistent level. And I think that's a constant conversation that has to be had in a peer-to-peer environment. You know, you kind of have to set the pace and you kind of got to call everybody else up to it. And that comes from your performance. It comes from you doing things a certain way. And, you know, if you have a smart leadership team above you, they're going to recognize you for what you're doing at that level. And then other people are going to want to follow. So, you know, there's books on this. There's a book on this called 360 Leadership. There's a lot of different books on leadership that teach peer-to-peer leadership. But at the end of the day, leadership is very simple. It's doing what the task that's supposed to be done at a high level, and then it's getting other people to do it with you. And that's it, man. Yeah. So how do you do that? Some people do that by yelling at people. I found that to not be the most effective way. Now, sometimes when there's high urgency and things are on the line, and let's say, you know, like back when the company was smaller and we were within 30 days of going out of business for fucking 10 years straight, yeah, sometimes it got hot. And it's like, hey, motherfucker, you do this or you're out of here, right? The most effective way to lead? No. Does it get the job done in a pinch? Yes. I would consider that something like we're in a firefight and me and you, and I'm like, hey, fucking go over there. And I'm like, go over there right now. We're going to get killed. Right. That's
got bullets flying. Well, Andy, you could, I don't
like get the over there, bro. We're going to get fucking killed.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how it is when things are more urgent. And when you get in a little less urgent of a scenario, you know, you could soften that a little bit, but the boundary still has to be hard, and it has to be, this is what the expectation is. And I think the main thing that leaders do that really discount their own credibility with people is that they don't operate on the standard that they try to hold everybody else to. And they think they can fool people. They think they can, people don't see them, you know, taking the shortcut or taking that play off, or, you know, coming in at, you know, 11 when everybody else is there at fucking 8, right? Like people see that and you can't hide it. And when people see all that shit, it reduces the amount of credibility that you have with them. So when you're a leader, you got to understand, bro, that it's got to be real. You have to perform at a high level. You have to be effective, and you have to teach these other people how to do it. Leading is more about teaching than it is about fucking like demanding. You know what I mean?
It's more of a show.
It's more of an education.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I think a lot of leaders get in trouble because they assume that the reason that, and by the way, when I say a lot of leaders, I'm also saying myself. I, for a long time, assumed that the reason that people didn't do things was because they were lazy. Okay. And really the honest truth is that it's not most of the time that people are lazy. That's just an immature leader. I was a very immature leader for a long time. What you start to figure out as you get older is everybody wants to do better. Most people do want to win. Most people do want to be on a winning team. And yeah, there's a lot of losers out there, but your job is to get away from them into an environment where you want to win. And, you know, when you get around winners, laziness isn't the problem. Lack of skill is the problem. And so you have to transition your mentality from assuming that everybody's just lazy to they want to win, but they don't have the skills to win. So then you become a teacher. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, man. Guys, Andy, that's a Monday, man.
Yep. Let's go out. Let's kick some ass, and we'll see you with CTI tomorrow.